If I gave you a one-way ticket to Spain right now, would you take it? Now, before you answer that, there's something you need to know. Because if you've been researching Spain, watching the highlight reels, scrolling the Instagram photos, checking the subreddit threads, you've probably seen the same surface level stuff over and over again. You know, Spain has great beaches, cost of living is lower, tapas are amazing, and yes, people take siestas. Yeah, but that's not the real story. Living in Spain comes with layers, nuance, things that, only show up once you've actually been here. And some of these things will make you fall in love with this country even faster, and others might blindside you if no one prepares you. So in this video, we're going deeper. Not the tourist version, not the Pinterest version, not the top 10 reasons to move abroad fluff piece. You're getting the real pros and the real cons, the stuff that actually impacts your day-to-day life, your wallet, your sanity, and your long-term happiness if you decide to build a life here. All right, let's get into it. Pro number one, Spain has ridiculously diverse geography. Most people picture Spain as Barcelona, Madrid, or a beach in Malaga, but this country is a lot bigger and more varied than people realize. If you love mountains, Spain has tiny stone villages tucked into the Pyrenees and the Sierra Nevada that feel like you've stepped back in time. Prefer dramatic green coastlines? Go north, Asturias, Cantabria, the Basque Country. It feels like Ireland and Hawaii had a baby. And if you want that island life, pick your flavor. Mallorca, Ibiza, Menorca, Tenerife, Gran Canarias. And yes, there's also southern Spain with places like Costa del Sol, if you're into the beach scene that we all know and have heard of. So whether you're a city person, a mountain person, a beach person, or someone who wants a slower village lifestyle, Spain actually gives you all of it. And going to and from one geographic location to another is very easy and quick in some cases. When we lived in Andalusia, we could go ski in one moment and then be swimming in the Mediterranean an hour later. It's really incredible. Pro number two, you can survive here without perfect Spanish. If you stick to the big cities and expat-heavy areas, you can get by with very little Spanish. English is widely understood, especially by younger people and anyone working in tourism. But if learning Spanish is important to you, and honestly, it will make your experience here 10 times better, and we definitely recommend you learn the local language no matter where you move, then moving to a more local area will force you into the deep end, and you'll learn faster simply because you have to. Now, one thing to be aware of, some regions have their own co-official languages like Catalan, Basque, or Galician. These are beautiful languages, but if your goal is to learn Castilian Spanish, it can add a layer of confusion, especially early on. Pro number three, Spain is incredibly safe. Spain is one of the safest countries we've ever lived in and one of the safest in Europe. You can walk around at night, kids walk to school alone, crime is low. Yes, pickpocketing in places like Barcelona is real, so don't be naive, but serious violent crime is extremely rare. And Spain is also relatively safe from natural disasters and sits in one of the most geopolitically calm corners of the world. No neighboring conflicts, no major tensions. It's stable, and when you have a family, that matters. It also matters if you're simply tired of all the political infighting and related violence that we're seeing, in parts of, where. Pro number four, strategic location and great travel connections. Spain is Europe, but is also practically touching Africa. Morocco is literally a short ferry ride from the south. Because Spain is such a tourist hub, the airports are really well connected. Direct flights all over Europe, strong connections to Latin America, and tons of low-cost carriers for weekend trips. If you love to travel, Spain is one of the best bases you could possibly pick. Pro number five, Spaniards are generally welcoming. Are there frustrations with over-tourism in certain hotspots? Absolutely. And you know what? It's valid. But as a foreigner actually living here, I've never once felt unwelcome, ever. The only time I've seen negativity is toward people who live here for years without even trying to speak a word of Spanish. If you put in the effort, people will appreciate you. That's been our lived experience. Pro number six, lower cost of living with one big asterisk. Groceries are cheaper, yes. Eating out, cheaper. Public transportation, cheaper. Compared to France, Germany, the UK, or the US, Spain feels like a breath of financial fresh air. But here's the nuance. Rent in Madrid, Barcelona, Valencia, Malaga, Marbella, Mallorca, well, it can get expensive. And what feels affordable for some earning a US, UK, or remote salary can feel very different for locals who are earning local wages. Because salaries in Spain are significantly lower than many neighboring countries. So Spain is affordable dependent on your income source. Pro number 7, progressive, inclusive, and socially forward. Spain is one of the most progressive countries in Europe. Same-sex marriage was legalized back in 2005. There are huge pride celebrations, a vibrant LGBTQ community, and strong feminist movements, as well as massive demonstrations on things like International Women's Day. Artists like Rigoberta Bandini capture this modern, unapologetic Spanish energy perfectly. So if you want to live in a place that embraces diversity and self-expression, Spain is absolutely phenomenal. Now, let's talk cons, because in reality, no country is perfect, and these are things that surprise a lot of people. Con number one, bureaucracy will test your sanity. Absolutely. I've said it over and over in a couple of other videos. Spain's bureaucracy has a reputation, and unfortunately, it's earned. Open a bank account, setting up a Wi-Fi, renewing your residency, getting a permit, everything takes more steps than it actually feels like it should. Processes aren't always clear, timelines are slow, and if you don't have a Spanish ID, prepare to double whatever effort you expected to spend on that thing. So, we've dealt with all of it. In fact, there's a medical procedure that I've tried to schedule 3 times, and I failed all 3 times because some previously unknown step gets disclosed, and you're back to step number 1. Now, the reality is you just got to learn to breathe, laugh, and bring snacks to every appointment. Con number 2, local salaries don't match the cost of living. Here's a truth most people don't hear until they move. Spain is affordable if your income comes from outside Spain. If you work for a Spanish company, especially in entry-level or mid-level roles, salaries can be shockingly low compared to other parts of Europe, and even compared to the cost of living here. Add in high taxes and high social security contributions, and disposable income may feel just a bit limited. Now, this doesn't affect everyone, but is something to understand if you plan to work locally. Con number 3, construction quality can be inconsistent. So let me be honest, some Spanish apartments are beautiful. The old architecture is incredible, but deferred maintenance is a real thing. On more than one occasion, I've stepped into housing situations where the approach was to, just continue putting band-aids on the problem rather than truly fixing it. And newer builds, well, some have thin walls, poor insulation, weird layout choices, and temperature control that doesn't really make any sense. And again, maintenance issues tend to arise earlier than you'd expect. It's not everywhere, but it's common enough that I felt that it's worth mentioning. Con number 4, Spain is loud, especially in the south. Spaniards are expressive, which is one of the reasons people love it here. Now, I grew up in a Puerto Rican household, so I'm used to it. But if you come from a quieter culture, this can be a shock. Conversations can sound like arguments. Restaurants are packed and lively until late at night. The concept of personal space is just simply different than when someone would expect, someone from the US might expect. Now, I've received a butt or an elbow to the head sitting at a restaurant as the table next to me is like enthusiastically greeting some new friends who just entered the place. So you got to be prepared for that. Also, kids are out late and people live outside. Now, for some, that's the charm, which is the case for us. But for others, it does take adjusting. Now that we've covered the pros and cons, let me share a few tools that have genuinely simplified our life here in Spain, and they're what Danielle and I actually use. First, it's Wise. That's our banking lifesaver. We use Wise for all things money abroad. Low fees, fast transfers, multi-currency accounts. It just makes international life seamless. Saily. That's a simple, affordable mobile service. For phone plans, Saily has been the easiest and most cost-effective. Quick setup, no contracts, and great coverage across Spain and Europe. It's a lifesaver because our mobile plan is here in Spain, but when we like to travel, which we do, for instance, we were in Scotland, that SIM card did not work in Spain, and I was able to put something on with Saily very quickly for the 3 weeks that we were there. Number 3 is Viator, our go-to for travel experiences. Whenever we explore Europe, we book activities through Viator. It's reliable, it's easy to use, and great for finding tours, experiences without over-planning. A quick note, we'll put the links for all 3 of these services in the description of this show. Now, using our links for any of these services helps support our channel and allows us to keep creating content that helps others move abroad with confidence, and we really appreciate it. Now, final thoughts. Spain is one of the most rewarding countries to live in. The lifestyle, the culture, the travel opportunities, the warmth, it's truly hard to beat. But understanding the pros and the cons helps you make a smarter, smoother transition. And honestly, that's what we try to help people do every single day. Now, if you want help planning your move or you need guidance on visas, housing, schooling, or life abroad, check out Expat Livin at our expatlivin.com website. We've built solutions for every stage of your journey. And I want to hear from you. What do you think is the biggest pro or con of living in Spain? Did I miss something? Drop it in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you on the next video.
Pack your dreams, it's time to go.